watch it or.
Wait, you told me to watch Vampire Diaries, right?
I did, yes.
So I don't know anything about Supernatural. Yeah, tell me the ending. I don't care.
You don't know anything about Supernatural, the TV show?
Mm-mm. Well, should I?
No, I'm just so excited. I've never met someone that doesn't know about these things, and
Okay.
usually they already know, so I don't get to talk about them because they're like, "No, I already know. You're good. You're done." So, but you don't know, so we can talk about them.
Okay.
So, Supernatural is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. It went too long and shared opinion of the entire community. I think there's 15 seasons of it,
Yikes.
and they were slated to end after 5. And the end of season 5 is a season. It's a series finale. It's beautiful. It would be a beautiful ending. Like watching it back, you're like, yeah, this is where a show would end. And then there's a new season for another 10 seasons.
Related though? It's like the same story, or is
Oh
it like
yeah,
a
it's
new
the same
direction?
story. It's the same characters. They just kept going and going and going. Um, but far and wide, it is widely agreed that the first 5 seasons are the best because they're monsters. They're the classic monsters, but they're also like classic monsters for every culture. You know, so like ones that I've
Chupacabra.
actually, yeah, chupacabra. I don't think they actually ever hunt a chupacabra, but things of that ilk.
Okay.
I don't want to say the names of some of them because I am superstitious. And in superstition, if you say their names, you
Gotcha.
harm
Okay.
them.
Yes.
But they have like they don't specifically name her, but La Lorena. Do you know what that is?
No, don't.
It's like an old, especially down in Texas. It's a very Hispanic thing, and it's basically a woman who her children died like in the middle of the night, and she found them and was so distraught that she herself. Um, and so she haunts, the roads and everything. And if she finds you and you're a little kid, she tries to like lure you away and kill you.
This
Because
sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a really classic like horror tale, and so they do a version of that. And the first season, especially, is like very spooky, very dark, low budget horror, which I think is always better than high budget horror. Um, and it's great. And the main actors in it, Jensen Ackles, who's in The Boys, he's like the superhero that all the superheroes love, or something like that. They bring him back. He's only in a few episodes, I'm pretty sure. Um, he's one of the main characters, and he's beautiful, obviously, to look at. And so is Jared Padalecki, and so is also everyone else in the show for 15 seasons. Um, but it gets a little. They meet the devil, and they start interacting with demons a lot more and angels all the time. Then it's not just like the monster of the week. It's now angels and demons, heaven versus hell. But then it's heaven doesn't have any angels because they killed too many of them, and the demons need more demons, and so we have to give souls to them, and it gets a little convoluted in that. But anyways, all the way through till the end of season 15, you find out that the supervillain the whole time that's been fucking them over the whole time is God.
The super villain is God,
The
huh?
supervillain is God because their lives have been trashed this whole time. And they're like, why? Why are we so unlucky? Why can't we have anything good, anything that we love? Doesn't last, like it's only us two, everything else like dies and everything. And they realize it's because God has been watching them, like they're a reality TV show. And when they start getting comfortable, he thinks it's boring and he kills off whatever's making that happen so that they can go back to being exciting again. So it's God is the supervillain the whole time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, okay, that's really interesting because I'm thinking about my own life and like things are really normal, and then like all of a sudden a tragedy occurs, and like things grow out of these tragedies. Like even though a tragedy can occur, it sometimes will bring people closer together, or it sometimes makes you look at things at a different angle, or I mean, sometimes it can make you change your whole religion when something happens like that. And so, yeah, that's really interesting. Like the very like plain speak religion. You've spoiled the whole show for me now, but it seems like it might be an interesting show to watch. Like
It is.
even knowing that doesn't seem like it's a massive spoil. Do they treat it as it's a massive spoiler, or is it just treated as just kind of par for the course?
Um,
Is it a blow your mind moment?
I think it would be the kind of dependent on the kind of watcher you are. I'm an obsessive watcher. I'm a look at every single detail that's happening.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
do you
too.
remember when he did that with his head? That's something that this character did, so that character's controlling his body type of shit. Like I'm a
Yes.
very detail oriented watcher. So if you're like that, no. You saw it coming season 5. Season 5 actually is when they introduced God. Um and so you saw it then, but if you're like a casual watcher, you don't watch all the episodes, you don't pay attention, you're on your phone when the show's happening, you're not going to know it's happening until season 11, maybe 12.
Okay.
You know kind of what's going on, and then season 15, like, yeah, it's like, oh, this is okay, he's evil, got it. Season 14, actually, because you meet God's sister.
Well, I need to ask you this. I mean, because I mean, I'm not a Christian or I'm not a religious person, but I do have a tiny toe in like the Lutheran world. So, like, is it respectful at all to to God and religion, or is it more like we hate God kind of thing, or like how would you describe that vibe?
That's a really good question because I was raised, I like to call it cult Christian. So not by the original Bible at all, but by the, hate everyone that's different is bad type of Christian. I don't like those.
Sure,
Um
that's why I'm choose Lutheran because it seems the most like liberal of all the
yeah.
Christianities.
Um, but still, even with that, because of that upbringing, I have issues watching certain shows because there's that little thing in the back of my head that's like, that's bad. I don't like that. That speaks too bad. Like Lucifer, for some reason, I can't get myself to watch that show. Everyone in my family's watched it. It's one of my sisters. It's one of her favorite shows, and she keeps trying to get me to watch it. But I'm also, the more you try to get me to watch something, the less it's gonna happen. Um, so with that in mind, I think yes, it does do a very good job because it doesn't do it as God our God. It's like just this fucking guy who we see as an alcoholic throughout the show, and you're like, this is God?
That's the representation is like the watcher, and you don't really pay him, but he's a character you've seen the whole time. That's cool. I'm
He
gonna be
is
looking
a
out for him.
character. Yeah. I won't tell you who he is, but he's a character that you meet, and then you're like, what the fuck? Um, I think it is really respectful because it makes them all very human.
Okay. I
Mhm.
just had that moment on my book that I read too. It was like where like there was a character that's been around for all three books, and at the very end of the third book, you find out that he's actually someone else that was introduced in the first book, and it was a big mind blower. It sounds like this. It's the exact same thing. This guy all along has been this guy, and I kind of like those kind of things because it makes you want to rewatch.
To see all the little points, right?
Yep.
I have I haven't told you this about me yet. I'm writing a book series. I
How
haven't
far along are you? Whoa, this is big news.
I am most of the way through the first book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been writing it since high school though, so like 8 years.
That's great though. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be called Growing on Me, and it's about anti-heroes, the morally gray characters.
Well, I mean, have you like published any sample chapters or like any writings anywhere where you get a feel for any of this?
Not for the book. I have poems that are out there. I became a published poet when I was in elementary school, actually,
Heck yeah.
because they did a contest with all the local elementary schools and I won it. And so I have some very depressing poem that's out there about how, like I see the world so joyful, and at the end of it, it's like I see the world so morbid. And I was like 8. For I don't know why they saw this poem that an 8-year-old wrote, and were like, she doesn't need help. Let's publish it.
So instead of helping her, we're going to publish it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it has some depth to it. So I guess they recognize that. Or maybe they figured, well, if she's like, able to express it in such a way, then she doesn't need help. She's all good.
True. Yeah, I don't have anything out there yet. It's just I've talked about it. I have a TikTok that's really just for me and my mom. I just make funny videos that I think she'll laugh at, and I send things to her that I think she'll enjoy.
That's
Um,
cool.
I've somehow accrued I have 12,000 followers on there just from being a dumbass, which is pretty nice.
That's fun.
So I've every now and then I post like a video of like a very vague plot point of the stories, and I kind of acted out between the two characters without giving too much away, and I'll post it and see how it
Okay.
back to that
And this is related to this same book.
to the book. Yeah.
Okay, are you gonna give us your TikTok handle then? Because I got TikTok around here somewhere.
Let me see. Oh goodness, my mother's trying to get hold of me. Hold
Have you ever given your listeners your TikTok handle or like put the link anywhere?
on. I haven't actually.
This is a big one, listeners. Look at this.
Here's a big moment. I post a lot of stupid stuff. Don't judge me. It's all for fun.
Well, you can also edit this out later, of course. You have the editing powers, so you
I
don't have
do.
to include this.
I edit out a lot. Um, my it's underscore father dot daddy. That's my
Okay.
TikTok handle.
I'm not sure I approve of that handle, but okay, all right. I'll look for it. Because yeah, I'm on there as well. I think my handle is it's either Introvoid or it's Barnestown. Because usually my handles are always Barnestown. Like my YouTube is Barnestown1, like the worst YouTube handle you could possibly imagine. And I think my Instagram is Introvoid, I believe. Or it's Void Introvoid. That's what I did. Void Introvoid is my TikTok. And
Very
yeah, same. Like I just post randomly, but a lot of people like to follow it for some. I think TikTok is just one of those things that everybody just follows everybody, and you get lost in the shuffle sometimes. And sometimes I'll post something that gets like 2 views. And then
Mhm.
sometimes I'll post something that gets like 10,000 views and 1,000 likes. And it's like, I don't understand how the algorithm works. But when it works, it's fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. I had to turn off notifications because I made a video the other day and I kept getting comments on it, and I was like, no, I don't care about this. Was for my boyfriend to laugh at. I don't actually want you to talk to me. um,
But we want to see these characters acted out, though. So that's why we're going to look at it if
yes,
we're able to.
I have them pinned. I have those videos pinned to the top because eventually I'm gonna stitch them again and be like, aha, the book is out finally. It's only taken me a decade.
Do you
Um,
have a goal in mind for yourself or like a projected date when you think it may be ready for public consumption?
oh God, no. Before I'm 30, that's
That's
as
4 years. That's
yeah,
solid.
the
Yeah.
strictest goal that I could ever give myself. Otherwise, it'll be too much and I'll quit.
Yeah, I told myself I wanted to release an album by the time I was 50, and I was able to do that. By the time I was 50, I'd released 2 albums. So I
Woo!
know. So you'll do it too. Maybe we'll have 2 books by the time you're 30.
You could, you could. I already. It's so frustrating because I already know everything that's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen. I just have to like sit down and actually write it out. It's the
Hmm.
little conversations getting there, but I have I think 4 notebooks full of notes and character drawings, character sheets with like their personalities and all of these little all these little details.
Always wanted to do that too, and that I started doing writing because I do have a Substack out there where I've written some like long form stuff. I think I did like maybe a dozen or so essays a couple of years back, around the same time I was starting podcasting and doing music. I was going all angles. So there is stuff out there I've written too on my Substack, probably under Barnestown or Introvoid. And
Avoid
I really wanted what my goal was to like write a bunch of stuff and then like link them all together and do like a not a autobiography, but like write a story based around myself with fictional or like supernatural things involved in it. Um, and I think I write well, but I just kind of fell out of favor. I'm much happier reading than I am writing. I'm going to be honest with you.
when I get further along, I'll have you read it and get like an outside perspective and be like, what do you can be like a
Thank you.
pre-editor. Yeah.
I'm so glad we met. Thank you.
Yeah. I would love that, honest. Because I don't trust anyone that I know. They're gonna read it and say that they love it no matter what.
I hear that. Okay.
That'd be great actually to have
I
that.
I I might not be. I mean, I do give constructive criticism, but just like I think with everything else, like we were talking about Marvel movies, and I don't know if you noticed how respectful I was about that. I mean, I have really negative feelings about it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to say I hate something or like focus on the hateful part.
Right.
Like I might have constructive criticism, but I would never like even if I hate something. Like just recently, I watched a movie. I won't say what, because I had to review it. And I actually did hate it. And in my review, I was very careful and never actually said the words like, I like this movie, I enjoyed this movie. I would say things like, I really appreciated the cinematography of this. Um, could have done a better job with the acting here, but the overall arc was in good shape. The final product looks good, things like that. Like I would never, I just feel so hesitant to like shit on something. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
I'm
Unless it's
always
some, yeah,
I'm proud of them for finishing the project
yes,
and getting it out there. And so it's yeah, I'm also very hesitant to say that I hate a movie. I think it's
yeah,
happened twice in my life.
yep. And yeah, like I said, I say I'm a Marvel hater because it's in my mind, but yeah, I don't go around crapping on it. Never once have I like posted a negative meme or like a negative comment or like, go on Reddit and like say a bunch of mean stuff to somebody that loves it. That's not my style at all. And like, I
Mhm.
got the receipts to prove it.
I went through your Reddit. I believe you.
Okay, all right. Whoops.
Speaking of going through your Reddit, I did see that you are a member of a community
Mhm.
that I wanted us to kind of play a little game with.
Oh boy. Okay, all right.
So you seem very involved in the explain a plot movie badly community.
Just recently, yeah, I just
Yeah.
recently got into that.
So I have a couple that I actually was saving up that I wanted to read to you and see if you knew what movies they were.
Okay, yeah, this is great.
Okay. Let me pull it up here. When I did look up Eva Green, she is very pretty.
Just pretty? I mean, come on. Give her some more than that.
I think the most beautiful woman is Simone Ashley.
Don't know who that is.
You should look her
Should
up.
I look her up?
You
I'm
sh-
not used to that. Is one thing about my podcasting style is like I never look things up during my because I'm always hesitant to like do this thing where like now I'm going to navigate to my browser and now I'm typing and then I get kind of lost in what I'm doing and then I forget to pay attention to you. Like so, I'm always hesitant to like look something up, but I will because you told me to. What's that
Mhm.
name again?
Simone Ashley.
This is probably somebody I know who it is. I just don't know their name.
You might not.
No, I don't know who this is.
Yeah,
Quite striking and beautiful, though. I gotta say that a
Mhm.
Bridgerton actress, was she the Little Mermaid? No, she wasn't.
I don't think so. No, I think that
She was in it.
was she. I didn't watch the new Little Mermaid.
I didn't either,
I
but she
haven't
was.
watched really any of the live action Disney movies because why?
Let's see who she. Oh, I didn't know Melissa McCarthy was in that, but let's see who she played. She played Indira. I don't even know who that is, but I bet her and Eva Green are friends. I bet they high five.
They're all part of the Beautiful Women Club.
Uh huh. Okay, yeah. Explain the film plot badly. Got to get back on track here.
Okay, let's see here. I had saved a few. I'm trying to see after we've talked. There were a couple that I'm like, oh, he actually wouldn't know this movie. So
You
now I'm
never
trying
know.
to. Well, they're Marvel, so I actually do know.
Okay. Well, you can't even do Marvel movies on explain a film plot badly. I don't know if you know that or not.
I don't know that. It's not from the Reddit thread. It's just like out there
Okay.
in the universe.
On that
Um,
Reddit thread, though, no Marvel movies allowed, no Star Wars. You can't do anything that's like, I don't know, too much in the public sphere for whatever reason. But Marvel, they're real Marvel haters. Like, it's like, absolutely not. You'll be banned if you do a Marvel movie.
my goodness, maybe people were just doing them too much. There's also like
I think
a
so.
thousand Marvel movies, so you could take up a whole thread just those alone.
Hmm.
Okay, group spends 9 hours returning jewelry.
Group. Okay, I was gonna say that Adam Sandler movie, but it's not that. Group spends 9 hours. That's the clue. 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Returning jewelry is also a clue. Like something like Hellraiser, like not Cabin in the Woods kind of thing. I'm thinking horror movies. Am I on the right track?
It wouldn't be a horror movie. It's also not a single movie. It's
Okay, okay.
trilogy, if that helps.
Group of people return. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I don't know if you've seen, but I have like the Evan Star as a necklace.
Sweet. Okay. I'm
I
a Lord of the. I wouldn't say I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, but I'm definitely an appreciator and a reader. I've read all the books, so
I
I got that
haven't.
on you. Okay, they're kind of boring. They're long. They're really really. It's like reading the Bible in a way almost, but solid though, very solid.
Okay, the next one, and this is a single movie. Stockholm Syndrome sometimes works.
Okay, first got to remember what Stockholm syndrome is. That's like when you
Fall in love with your captor.
and it sometimes works. Um, so it's not misery. They didn't fall in love, did they?
No, they did not. This is my mom's favorite Stephen King novel, though. Fun fact.
Okay, yeah. You were asked me to say my three favorite books and all that kind of stuff, and one of my favorite books is The Stand by Stephen King as well.
Oh, really? Great writer.
But let me refresh my memory here. What was this again?
Stockholm Syndrome
Stockholm
sometimes
syndrome,
works.
and it's not The Room because that didn't work. That didn't work out for them either. Single movie. I need a
Mhm.
hint. What decade was this released?
Ooh, I don't even know.
Pre
Honestly,
2000 or post 2000?
pre
How
two
about
thousand
that?
for sure.
Hmm? What's
Pre two
that?
thousand for sure.
Okay, okay. Oh, E.T.?
Mm,
They don't fall in love, but
they kind of do, just platonic.
they're platonic love.
No.
Captor. Peter Pan? Hook?
That's a good guess and close, but no.
Thinking of more captives. Um, it's got to be loose, though. It's got to be loose. I'm thinking of villains like holding someone captive, but I think it's not like that, is it? Or is it? It is kind of like that.
A little for like 5 minutes.
I mean, I don't know how much longer I can guess. How much more?
I mean,
I
I
think,
can cut all this out and shorten it all up.
of course. No, I'm going to give up at this point because I gave like five guesses.
You did. It's Beauty and the Beast.
That seems so obvious now that you say it, right?
All right, you get one more and then we're going to move on.
Okay.
All right. Drug addicted girl takes advantage of a mentally challenged boy for 3 decades.
3 decades. There's your clue. Mentally challenged. Do you say mentally challenged or is that what you
Mentally
said?
challenged, yeah.
Woman.
The girl is drug addicted. The mentally challenged
Oh,
boy.
okay. 30 years though. Drug addicted.
Probably a lot longer. We just only see it for 30 years.
So this movie takes the span of a 30-year cycle then is what you're saying. Wow.
Starts
Okay,
when they're
that
kids. Yep.
I can't think of a lot of movies that do that. So that's my first clue is try to think of a movie that goes over a long period of time and drug addicts, mentally challenged people. Boyhood? No.
Mm-mm.
That movie took place over 12 years, I think, not 30. This is very hard because I'm trying to think of movies where people grow up and it's not working. I know Benjamin Button spends a long time,
It does. I don't think
but
she's
that's
addicted
not
to
it.
drugs though.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen Benjamin Button. If I did, I don't remember it. Um, let's stick with some drug addict girls I'm thinking of here. It's not drugstore cowboy. That sounds a little too obvious.
Never even heard of that. It's
And I know
pre
that
two thousands also.
yeah.
I would say this movie is a classic.
Psycho? No.
Now you're just naming movies. Think
Well, I'm thinking of like classics now. Yeah. What's the drug that she's addicted to? Can I get that hint?
I don't think they actually fully say it actually in the movies. Oh, movie, sorry. Let me see if I can look that up real quick.
Oh, they don't specify, but you just know that she's a drug addict.
I don't remember if they specify. Here, let me.
That must play a minor role in the movie then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So I should ignore. I don't know if I should ignore that clue or not. 30. Oh, is it the Pearl?
It is
No.
not. She does cocaine. That is her drug of choice.
Boogie Nights?
She, she does cocaine and then tries to jump off a balcony.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump!
I finally got it. And yep, that's an accurate description. Totally. Okay. All right. And it is a
Beautiful.
classic.
Mm-hmm.
Checks all the boxes.
Well descripted. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you were saying, I want to know your favorite. You can go in any order, but your top three favorite books, movies,
Okay.
and TV shows.
Alrighty. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. I guess we're kind of ramping up now because we've been talking for a while, and I got to start making dinner here pretty soon. But yeah, let's see. My three favorite shows. I talked about Dark already, so you already know about Dark.
Okay.
The Wire on HBO is one of my top three favorite shows. It's a show about Baltimore and the drug trade and the police and the shipping units and everything about the drug trade within Baltimore. It's fascinating. 5 seasons, solid. And then The Leftovers, another HBO show, another show about depression and longing and suffering. And it's has no very little levity to it, but it's so well acted, so well done with Kevin Harvey in the lead. And it's a show about loss. The basic premise of the show is 2% of the people on Earth just disappear one day without a trace, just completely disappear before everyone's eyes. And the whole show is about the rest of them, the leftovers, the rest 98%, how they deal with that. And it sounds like 2% is not that big, but it actually is.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah. So it's a real, I mean, great show. I'll move on to books now, which Leftovers is a great book as well. But the books, my favorite books like throughout all time is The Stand by Stephen King, which is about good versus evil. A book called Rant by Chuck Palahniuk, the same guy who wrote Fight Club. I wrote this book, Rant, another time travel book about a guy who travels back in time to try to, on both times, prevent and make his life happen at two different junctures. It's a real like time trippy movie book. And then the book series Game of Thrones. I know that's real basic of me. I'm a real basic bitch here, but I like Game of Thrones. I like the way it's written. I know it's not finished yet, but it's a real, just the style of writing that he does, not just the gray characters, not just the different points of view, but just the readability factor. Just the words just fly off the page as you're reading them because it's just so easy to follow along. So I really like that writing style a lot. Those are my books.
I like it. I
Um,
like it.
Three favorite movies: Fight Club. There you go. Chuck Palahniuk again. Really enjoy that one. Rushmore, which is a movie that came out maybe around 2000. Absolutely one of my favorites. It's one of the who are the directors there? Is it Paul Anderson? It's not Paul Anderson. It's a very real famous director that's also done um, blanking out here. Come on, man, Rushmore. It's a great one.
Never
It's a movie about like a high school kid that goes to like a really elite high school, falls in love with his teacher. His teacher is involved with Bill Murray. Bill Murray is in this movie. Just such great comedic acting, such just sharp wit. It's just a funny, just real funny slice of life movie. And then the third is Donnie Darko. I love Donnie Darko.
a
Time
cult classic.
again, time travel, gothic, great star, great cast. You know, love. I mean, how can you not like Donnie Darko? If you don't like Donnie Darko, I don't like you.
Baby Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, that's right. Oh, the best. And Jenna, what's her last name? The female lead in the movie. She doesn't do much anymore, or at least I don't see her a lot anymore. But at the time, I mean, just great stuff. I'm just going to talk about how great it is. I'm not doing a good job here. Okay, bands. Mastodon
Hmm.
is probably currently my number one favorite band, metal band. Um, Another favorite band, Black Sabbath, classic. How can you go wrong with like a classic metal band like Black Sabbath? Never go wrong with them. And then for my third, Primus. I think I'm wearing a Primus shirt
You
today.
are, yeah.
Yeah, they're just a really goofy, original, just oddball, quirky band with really just interesting compositions. And I think those three bands kind of wrap up what I like about music. So yeah, are you going to give me your top three of all these same things too?
I absolutely can. I have done them on the show before, so it'll be like a reminder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back and
No,
watch episode 2, y'all.
I think it is episode 2 that I talk about this. Um, let's see. My favorite movie of all time has always been since it came out, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, that's a solid one. Okay, yeah, I like that
Yeah.
too.
Action, comedy, romance, two hot actors. This is gonna sound so shitty of me actually. I'm really tired of seeing like romances or love plots where one or both of the people are fucking ugly. I want to see hot people making out. I don't care about anything else. If I
Oh
want to
man,
see people making out, I'm
I
going
like
to
ugly people. I'm an ugly people fan.
It's too realistic. That's not what I'm watching a movie for.
I gotcha. Okay.
So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then my next one is one that not a lot of people have seen the movie of, but the TV show was a classic. A Team.
Okay. So the movie is one of your favorites,
The
is what you're
movie. It's
saying.
got Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper in it.
I don't
Um,
think I've seen the movie. I've seen the TV show, the hell out of it, but
See? Exactly. No one's seen. So I personally loved the movie. I grew up kind of watching the TV show,
okay.
mostly in like high school, I would say. My parents were more like spaghetti westerns than they were, a TV like military shows. But I love the movie. It is so damn funny. There's so much action. I think they do a really good job respecting the TV show and like having fun with the characters. So that's just a fun, lighthearted movie to watch if you want it, and yeah, I think you'll get a good chuckle out of it.
Okay.
Um, and then top my third favorite movie of all time. I can't remember. I have it written down. Hold on. My journal fell off the couch.
It's nice to write things down, man. This is why. You can go back and check out your notes.
I write everything down. I
Me
forget
too. Me too.
for like day to day. He was just telling me, he was like, "Hey, do you remember the other day when we talked about this?" And I said, "No, I do not." What are you talking about? um, it wasn't episode 2. Was it episode? Oh
Yeah, I still
no,
have all my notes from all 130 episodes too, right back there.
that's crazy impressive. Let's see here. In episode 3, I was talking about why is there so much incest in TV shows?
That is troubling. I don't like that either. And that
It's
happens in 100 Years of Solitude that we're watching right now. I'm not a
Does
fan of
it?
it. Yep.
Not a big fan at all.
Nope.
Look at that. I Next to movies, I just said, I have
Of
all of
course
this
I know.
written
Of
down.
course I know.
I should. You're so right, self. It's probably I try to stay away from like series and stuff. I want to say it's one of the Jurassic Parks, but I would avoid series. Um, this is actually gonna piss me off. What is my third favorite movie of all time?
I don't know, but my light has been off this entire time. Look, I'm lit up now, y'all.
Beautiful. So is
At the
mine.
very
It's just hitting me.
well, you got a lot of direct light. I think I've been in shadow this whole time, so this is what I
I could
look
see
like
your
for
beautiful
real.
face. Don't even worry. Um,
You only like two movies then. We'll accept that.
yeah, 2 movies is fine. I'll text you my third once I remember it. I'm
Okay.
a big fan of like Jurassic Park, Marvel, obviously. It's probably something stupid like Immortals. That's not stupid. I love that movie. Have you ever seen Immortals?
Mm-mm.
Do you like Greek mythology?
Um, in general, yeah, but I should warn you though, I'm not like a giant action fan. Like you say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith Go to Washington. I remember seeing that movie and liking Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I should say. But generally, shoot 'em ups and actions and stuff like that, I kind of it's not that I don't like them. It's just I don't prefer it. I can learn to like them, but I'd rather just watch two people chill out and talk and have a weird conversation than cry or something.
That's interesting. How do you feel about romances?
Um, about the same way. If it's done the right way, it's great. If it's really sappy, like that's what I was getting at with the Gorge when their romance was starting to kind of blossom. It seemed kind of cheesy to me, and it turned me off. So yeah, but if it's done in the right way, it's wonderful. Like this movie, Past Lives, I recommended, the A24 film. That's a
Mhm.
romance movie, straight up about love, and it's wonderful, and I love it. There's other romance movies I've seen that I think are saccharine sweet and they turn me off. So I fall somewhere in the middle, I guess.
The movie, well, now I forgot. I think it's called About Time.
I've heard about this. Yes.
Okay. The main actress in it, I'm of course blanking now. She's the main actress in like Mean Girls and The Notebook.
Lindsay loves this movie. She's recommended it to me.
Just because of how much you've mentioned time jumping and you love that, that's the whole premise of this movie. Is this guy learns that he's allowed to jump through time, and he does it to get this woman to fall in love with him. But then he starts doing it after some things happen, like they have kids, and he goes back in time to fix something, and he realizes, oh, there's consequences to this.
Yes.
So it is kind of a sappy love story, but it's also a really great time jumpy movie.
Sounds perfect for me. I like it.
Everything that I've recommended to you, by the way, teenage girls love. So take it with a grain of salt, maybe, like Vampire Diaries.
Right. Well, I mean, I live with two women here. So then one of them
That's
is a teenage girl. So, this is right up my alley.
perfect, amazing. That might be the last recommendation that I'm going to give to you. I don't want to overwhelm you today.
We've overwhelmed each other with lots of TV shows, movies, and stuff.
I'm all written down.
You're getting that. Okay, we're down to your last two though, because you haven't told me your favorite books or your favorite bands yet. I don't even know anything about your music choices. So yeah,
That my bands are kind of a mixed bag. I love all kinds of music except for honestly most rap, but there is a lot of rap that I like. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. Um, my most nostalgic band, and I actually was my first tattoo, would be Godsmack.
okay, all right. Is that the ooh,
Um,
is that band?
that's Disturbed. Also,
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
yeah,
insult you.
they're like new metal, I think is what they're called.
Hmm.
Like Korn, Slipknot. That's what I grew up on. But my
I've seen a
favorite
lot of these
band,
bands. Yes.
is an English rock band. They're called The Heavy.
Okay, I want to check them out. I like this. I've
I
heard of them, but I've never heard them.
There is one song that everyone has heard, but they don't know that it's The Heavy, and it's the How You Like Me Now song.
Okay, yeah, I know that song.
That's them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll be checking it out.
A lot of beautiful songs that I picture Mexican standoffs happening to. And Glass Animals is my second favorite band. I don't
Okay.
know how really to describe them. They don't even like even on Google they don't have an actual description of their genre because they're their own little thing. They're funky, electronic. There's some rap, there's some rock. They incorporate all the genres to make like really fun music to listen to, especially if you're high.
Okay. I'm usually high. Yeah.
Yeah, so you might really love the music then.
Okay.
And yes, I think I'm only going to give you top twos for right now because the top three, for some reason, is evading me yet again.
Well, you named like four bands right there, though. You said Godsmack. You said Glass Animals. You
Hmm.
said the Heavy. That's
Hmm.
three.
What books?
Yes, that's the last subject.
My favorite. It's two book series. My favorite. It's a nonfiction book. It's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and it's actually a really beautiful book. He was a psychiatrist during Hitler,
Oh, okay.
and he was Jewish. So he got to go through a lot of concentration camps, and he's one of the lucky few that survived. And it's him
Wait, was he
talking
in the concentration camp, or he went through
in the
them to write about them?
no, he was in the concentration camps.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like his story about it, and it's not as sad as you would expect it to be. But well, you like sad, so I don't even have to give you that. Um, it's a really beautiful, just like writing of everything, and he's just telling about how I don't know, you can get everything literally stripped away from you, your clothes, your watches. He had a transcript of the book he was currently writing at the time thrown into a fire in front of him, but they could never take away how he chose to feel and how he chose to react to that. And there's one of my
Hmm.
favorite parts of the book is they're in the middle of winter in Auschwitz digging in the ground, doing all that manual labor in shoes that don't fit, have holes in them. They're cold, they're freezing to the bone, they're starving, they're sick. And one of the guys in the pit with him was just like, I'm sure there's someone out there that has it worse than me. And he said, so, be sad because there's always some competition in our head, like, oh, we can't be sad because we have it worse. He was like, I was literally in Auschwitz and there was still someone that was like, someone has it worse than me. Um, so it's a
Wow,
really beautiful book.
that sounds solid. Can you repeat it? The name of the
Man,
title of it?
it's Man's Search for Meaning
Okay.
by Viktor Frankl. And I like the version that has an additional forward added into it. It's just like from a couple other psychiatrists discussing it in like today's time. Well, today as of like 2 decades ago when it was published.
Yeah, this would interest me a lot. My grandfather was a POW in a concentration camp as well during World War II, and he had to spend more than a year there, and he escaped from it as well, and actually escaped from it is his story. That's what he tells us. And
Mhm.
yeah, he had it really rough in there. Told us kids like stuff that we probably shouldn't have heard. But anything that like anytime I hear about concentration camps, whether it's Auschwitz back then or World War I or World War II, it catches my interest because somebody that I was close to was in that situation. So I really want to read this.
Oh, absolutely. Let me know how you feel about it. I would love to have someone to talk to about it.
Okay.
Always hard talking about my next two afterwards because they're not as like wow. They're romance novels by
Okay.
Nora Roberts. They're actually one's a series and one's a trilogy. So it's the Bride Quartet trilogy, and it's just three best friends that grew up and started a wedding business, and it's them falling in love. So each book is focused on a different child or woman now. And then I call it the Island of Glass series, but I think it's actually called Stars of Fortune. Um, and so that one's actually like a fantasy, and there's like mermaids and witches that have cursed stars, and they're trying to get stars from different points in time. Like they have to time travel to get some because they're hidden all around the world, and they're getting it and trying to protect it and trying to protect the Island of Glass, which controls the whole world, and we don't know about it. And so it's a fun little
That's Nora
fantasy.
Roberts writing that?
Nora Roberts, yeah, she has a lot of
I didn't know
fantasy,
that.
right? Because you would just think of her as like a romance.
Right.
She has a
That's
lot of,
interesting.
yeah, it's really great. So those would be mine.
Okay. Another all timer would be Encyclopedia Brown. Did you ever read Encyclopedia Brown as a kid at all?
I did not.
Okay, that's one that people should pick up. It's really like
Did you just freeze?
universal. It's written for like 10-year-olds, but it's, this smart kid that goes around and figures out these crimes around his hometown. He's got this nemesis named Bugs Meany who is always doing mean stuff, and I love it. That's my style.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, these are good. We probably like recommended like 50 books and TV shows to each other here, like 50 each. So we got a lot
We
of homework to do.
won't be bored at all. And that's that I left out a book that I wanted to tell you about, but I'm going to tell you about it later.
Okay.
Because I'll be on your podcast at some point. So we got to leave something to talk
Absolutely.
about there. Yeah.
Actually, what you just mentioned, the movie that you recommended, not Past Lives, but the one about that you were just saying, the time travel, the romance movie. That's a shoe in. We're going to do that one. That's I've already decided.
Perfect. Awesome.
An
I've been
hour longer than we expected, but in a good way. I like this.
it's been great. Thank you so much for doing this. It was such a pleasure talking to you and meeting you, and I'm excited to get the files from you and rewatch it all 10 times over as I edit through everything. And be on your podcast, Sweet Child of Time. To everyone watching, I do want to remind you I'm going to have the link to his band and his podcast down below, and I'm going to find his TikTok and I'm going to link that down below too, so you can
Oh
go
no.
watch his videos.
All
Um,
right, that sounds good. Thank you for having me, Erica. This is great. I love being a guest, and thank you for allowing me to do so.
Absolutely, I'm honored that you were my first real guest.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
But thank you again. I will talk to you in probably a little bit.
Alrighty, bye bye.
Bye.